And I forgot to turn on my mic. So welcome to Artclstudios. This is Drawing and Talking, episode 23. And today we're speaking about control. Control is the episode of tonight. So the question Melissa asked is, how did I learn to make designs? So I've been drawing since I was a little kid. And I was drawing cartoons, and that was my passion. Looking at cartoons first, and then my brother actually was the one that wanted to go to school for design. And I didn't know what design was. I thought graphic design was about making video games, and that's what I wanted to do. But little by little, I took a class and didn't see video games at all. And one day they were like, I was like, so when do we learn about video games? And they're like, this is to learn about design. So it was sort of by accident, but it was like a happy accident. And now I'm using it every day pretty much. And I made this little logo for this little series that I've been doing. So yeah, so things that are out of control sometimes, out of my control at that time, turned out to be a good thing, you know. So we gotta understand that the things that we can't control, we gotta use it to our advantage, and not get too focused on those things that we can't control. All right, so thank you for that question. So tonight I'll be revealing a new character, and I'll show you guys the update of the Romeo Santos Pepe Le Pew character in this new episode of Latin Tunes. All right, so here is where we are so far. Still not finished, so just cleaned up a bit here and there. And this was the one previous to that. And then this is what we worked on last night, which was the poetry talk with Ari Satek. You guys can go check him out. So it's been an interesting week so far, full of ideas, full of thoughts, and you know, I'm happy to be sharing it with you guys. So again, thank you for joining. And I also want to recommend everyone to go subscribe to my channel. Link in my bio. You can just click there, click on YouTube, and you'll find the channel where all the episodes are being stored. The episodes from the first stream that I made all the mistakes, and as you can see today, I still made mistakes. So it's always, you got to roll with the punches. And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to control. You know, don't get mad that you can't control a certain situation, and just enjoy life, you know. Enjoy the things that you can, and enjoy those things you can't control, you know. So tonight for this episode, I'll be adding a new character to the roster, and as I'll be finishing the other things. And thank you again for your comments and your tuning in. So tonight, when we talk about control, I want to talk about the Looney Tunes that has. We can think he has the least control, but in certain times we can see that he has a lot of control because he spins whenever he wants to, and that's Tasmania. And this character is a bit special to me because my mom always had one of these Taz in the house, like a teddy bear. And it was also my first drawing that I did for YouTube. It was a task, and it was, I think it was, yeah, it was this one. And yeah, I drew this task. But tonight I want to switch it up, and we'll be adding tasks. Let me just start grabbing certain references, putting them here to the side. But I'll be turning Sketch into tasks, because when I first heard this guy, yes, Melissa says, yes, only we have control over ourselves, more so than sometimes our situations as well. Yeah, you know, the things that happen to us, we can't control. We can only control how we react to these things. And many times, the way we react to things happens sometimes out of emotion, and because we're not aware of our emotions, things can get out of control. So one way to prevent things from spiraling out of control is by being proactive and by being prepared. Of before things happen, you know, and don't be too quick to jump to conclusions. You know, enjoy the things. Self-control. And you know, there's a thing that if you plan a lot is also a bad thing. You know, like if you plan too much, it can also be detrimental to you. Self-discipline, self-control, all those things are, you know, the way to achieve certain things. But I was saying that if you plan too much, and you sometimes, when things don't go your way, people can also panic. So there's a certain level of improvising and certain level of planning, you know. So because things don't go the way you plan it, you shouldn't panic. You should roll with it. You know, sometimes it's easier said than done, but there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can control. And in references to why I chose Sedge as Tasmania is because he's this big guy, and when you hear him singing, he doesn't look like what he sings. I would expect him to sound rough, you know. And when we see Taz like a rough character, but he's also a sweet character, you know. He's very sweet on the inside. So that's why we're gonna be choosing Sedge to be making it into Tasmania. And let me know what you guys think about this series so far. Let me know your opinion. Let me know what you think about the topics that we've covered so far. And let me know in the comments what you think about this topic about control. You know, it's one of the things that humans thrive, you know, and look for, is to have control over situations. If we don't have control over something, we crumble, we panic. We don't enjoy it, you know. We don't enjoy not having control over things. And when things get out of control, we run for it. You know, we look for somebody to blame. We look for somebody to pay for whatever's happening. But when you understand that things that are happening to you, they're happening because that's the way that things are supposed to be, and look for the lessons in things. Sometimes we're too quick to find somebody to blame. You picked a brilliant cartoon character. Oh, thank you. Sometimes we find somebody to blame, and we're too quick to blame, but we forget that in every thing that happened to us, there's a lesson to learn. So instead of looking to blame somebody, look for what lesson am I learning here? What lesson am I learning? And that's what I always tell myself when I make mistakes. I always ask, what is it that I'm being taught here? Again, we can't control the situation. When we can't control the situation, find a reason why it's happening. I've broken many limbs. I've broken my leg. I've broken my arm. And And every time I broke a limb or I got injured playing a sport, my dad always told me, you're not meant to play sports. Sports is not for you. And if I wouldn't have listened, I would probably be trying to play sports still. You know, getting injured, getting hurt. Because I was very prone to getting injured. And if I wore like ankle braces, I wore a bunch of things, and I still got injured. And I realized that the message that was trying to tell me is like, this is not for you. And we got to also let go of things when they're not for us. You know, if something doesn't work for you, for a person, let them go. Let that thing go, because it's probably for somebody else. And you can probably spend time doing other things. Like, I bet if I didn't realize that too soon, I wouldn't be drawing right now. I wouldn't have spent time drawing. So one door closes and the 3, 4, 5, 6 doors open. Finesse, serenity. Take responsibility. Don't take things personal. Learn from yourself. Learn from your mistake, and self-discipline. Yep, all those things, man. Like, it's crazy, and it's something that we got to remind ourselves every day, because there's every day you get tested. Every day there's something that's out of your control, but you gotta remember that that's not you. You know, this is also one thing that gets in our way is our ego. Our ego is the one that wants to be in control of everything. Our ego is the one that tells you that, you know, this is what you battle with most of the time. And ego helps sometimes, you know, our emotions too. Yep. Ego helps in times of challenges. Ego is the one that makes you want to do better. Ego is the one that tells you there's more out of this, you know, takes control. Yeah, the ego takes control of your emotions, and we can lose it. You know, we can lose it. But when you're not afraid to let go of the ego, when you're not afraid, because there's a fear, all the fears we get is mostly ego driven. The reason why I do these lives probably is because of my ego. I want to be somebody. And that's all ego talk. You know, I want to be somebody. I want to be something. I want to do something for myself. All ego. But the balance of ego and spirit, that's what always you have to dance with. If we let it, it's our defense of the ego. If you let it go, and when we let go of things, it's when we prove to ourselves that we are mastering something, that we have gained something, you know. Sometimes they say that the more you have is the more ego control that you are. But when you're not afraid to let go of all those things, the less the ego controls you. All right, so let's get into this drawing for today, and I don't know if I have the right references. We're gonna look into these and we're gonna see how we can combine. I think we have something good here. Usually ego is created from trauma or even lessons. Yeah, man, that's a good one, Melissa. Ego is created from trauma. Let's talk a little bit about that. So, trauma, you know, trauma usually would come from something that you didn't have control over, and then you might keep blaming yourself over that. You know, you might go your whole life speaking about or carrying that trauma that happened to you. You know, that wasn't meant for you to keep, and that wasn't your fault. Whatever traumatic experience that happened to you, it wasn't your fault. And when you let go of that, you become free. But if you keep carrying that over and over, and you remind yourself that this happened to you, you're sort of traumatizing yourself over and over again, because it's interesting how the mind works. Something that happened 5 years ago, if you think about it today, sometimes it feels like it's happening to you right now. And that sometimes is more traumatizing. Like reliving those memories, reliving those stories is what causes harm to us. If it happened and you let it go, it dies right there, you know. If you let it go, it dies right there. But if you keep blaming yourself for something that was out of your control, it could be something that you carry and harms you for the rest of your life. But the moment you understand that it was out of your control, it's something that can happen to anybody. You already know is in the live. Hey, Arelis, welcome to the live. Thank you for joining. We're talking about control, and Melissa and I here, we've been bouncing ideas back and forth, speaking about control, about the ego, about trauma. And he used to spin when he would get angry. Exactly. Yeah. So when he gets angry and he wants to go somewhere, there's a clip of him, like every time he would run or go, he would spin and break houses, eat wall. And sometimes, and to me, this is what like anger would represent. But as we can see, this beast here that we see all spinning and angry can also be this beast. And that's why I don't think that everything is pure bad. Nothing is pure evil. There's always something good out of everything, you know. And now I'm thinking about whether I should draw the character in this pose or this pose. Yeah, and then he will spin out of control. Yeah, but there was something about it. Like, to me, even though he was spinning and he might look like out of control, he still knew where he was going. And probably the things he did were meant to happen the way he did them. Okay, so Taz. Yeah, I'm going to do the common pose. So I'm going to go with this one. And if anything changes, I'll be updating you guys on that. And so for yesterday, we were speaking about love, and I chose to do Romeo Santos for love, and to represent love, he's represented as Pepe Le Pew. What about transformation from anger to love? Balance. So to have that balance, let's see, how do you transform something from anger to love? All right, so hey Kyle, welcome to the live. Thank you for joining. So Melissa just asked a question. We're talking about control, and we're speaking about Taz, how he would get sometimes out of control, and how do we transform anger to love? How do we do that? Thank you for joining, man. Let me ask you that question back. Let me ask the question right back to you. What would be the answer to that? How do you transform anger to love? Anger to love. You know, I need this answer. So Kyle just joined in to find the answer to that, huh? Because anger is a big emotion, and sometimes, and a lot of times when we get angry, it is not, we don't mean to get angry. But again, because of our past experiences, our past memories, we think that whatever is happening to us, it's meant out of malice, or that the other person means to harm you. But sometimes it's just, and this is something that I lived with, compassion with yourself, forgiveness, patience. So the way to transform anger into love is through compassion, to understand that whatever that person or whatever is happening to you, it's not happening, or that person did it to you not because they don't like you or they hate you. It's because they're dealing with something themselves. And if you understand that it wasn't out of malice and you forgive that person, and I heard a guru say recently, he said that somebody came and spit on him, or a story that he was sharing is rooted in fear. Yeah, seriously, don't take it personal. So a guru, Kyle says, amen, it's rooted in fear. And Melissa says, it could be within themselves. Exactly. So a guru once said that somebody came and spit at him, or part of the story that he was sharing. A person spit at that other person, and the guru didn't get angry or anything. And, because he understood that whatever that person was going through was something that they were dealing themselves. They were dealing through themselves. So the pain that the person was feeling was bigger than the anger that they were reflecting and expressing out to the guru. And I know it's sometimes easier said, oh yeah, just forgive them. But just look within yourself and find that whatever that person did to you was out of frustration, out of something that's happening to them. And the way the guru handled that, he said that when the guy came back the next day, he asked for forgiveness. And he said that I don't have to forgive you because the person that was here yesterday is not you. That was somebody else. And now the reason you're coming back and asking for forgiveness is I don't have to forgive anything because the person doesn't exist anymore. So when I heard that, we gotta break down things into, and again, it's very hard to understand how to forgive sometimes, but we gotta understand that the situation that the person's going through maybe feels bigger than anything at the moment. But know that everything will pass, and you too shall recuperate from whatever is going on, So with patience and kindness, it's easier said than done, especially when things feel like they're being done out of malice, they're being done out of pure evil, Like sometimes we think, oh, that person is just bad or just out of control. But put yourself in their shoes and have compassion with them, and try to be empathetic to their feelings, and act like, and look at yourself as if you were going through that. How would you react, and how wouldn't you feel the same way? Wouldn't you be angry a lot? Wouldn't you scream at people? And then realize that something was done to them before he came to you. And it's sort of like domino effect, that the anger just keeps living in people. But the moment you don't receive it, the moment you say, oh, this is not for me, you drop it, it doesn't continue. So the chain reaction stops. Kyle says, I really like that. You can apply that to forgiving yourself as well. Yes, very true. Vitrola Art, welcome to the live. We're speaking about control. Yes, forgiveness is hard, but forgive for yourself because it'll only consume you. Yeah, and sometimes you're carrying that anger with you, and the other person even forgot what happened yesterday. And now you're the one being consumed by it. And sometimes the person didn't even mean to offend you, and you get angry for no reason, and the person's walking around like nothing happened. And you might feel bad, but for that person, it's nothing. So you're the only one living with that feeling, So you're carrying around a heavy heart while nothing else has changed. Like when nothing has happened, and you can only harm yourself if you carry anger, frustration all the time, and you express it. So we gotta learn to share light. Share a little bit of light in whatever. Give compliments. Instead of looking at something and trying to break it down, try to understand why it is the way it is, why things happen the way they happen, and try to see the beauty in things. Things become tough, but only you have the power to control you. Anything that's happening out there, it's supposed to be that way for somebody's lesson to be learned. It starts, forgiveness all starts within you. Forgiveness starts within you. And nowadays we don't hear enough about forgiveness. We hear about power. We hear about not even, I don't think we hear enough about love anymore. But forgiveness is something that I only used to hear in church. They always tell you to forgive your enemies and whatever. And now we only hear about how do you get back at somebody. Try to find a way to control the situation. Find a way to get through the situation, But sometimes once you let things just be, things will fix themselves. Things will start falling into place themselves. And another thing is that we don't live within us as much anymore. We don't understand that the things that are happening outside of you, like we were mentioning earlier, but a lot of the things that we see on social media, that we see on TV, they're not, we can't control it. And sometimes we spend a lot of time looking into how do we fix or why. We try to understand things that don't make any sense, and we try to reason for the reason why those things are happening. And it's just, we sometimes may waste more time because they don't have to do with us. They don't have to do with your life. If you close your social media, that doesn't exist anymore. If you turn off your TV, that narrative disappears. And it also, when we speak about us having control, there's also things that want to control us. And if we let those things come in, and let those things control us by us paying attention to it, even if we say like, oh, it's just a second, those things may start driving your life one way or another, and you don't even realize that you're reacting to something that doesn't exist. So yeah, let's see. We don't forgive ourselves from our mistakes. We become ashamed. Yeah, we don't. And once we become ashamed, like we don't want to share, our gift becomes hidden. Whatever gift we're giving, now we're afraid to share it because we don't forgive ourselves, because we're carrying guilt for something that wasn't supposed to happen to you. So the quicker you forgive yourself, the faster you can get back on track on whatever your plans were from the get-go. So definitely look into forgiving yourself. Even first, before you can forgive anybody else, you got to know what forgiveness feels like. And you got to remember that you got to learn how to forgive yourself first. Sort of like putting your mask on first before you help somebody else. That's the same way that you got to look at forgiveness. The news and etc. control our minds. We don't love ourselves enough. We become hard on ourselves. Yes, Lupo, welcome to the live. We're speaking about control. From control, we went into anger, and from anger, we went into forgiveness. All those topics relate, and I might do a topic just about forgiveness because I feel like that's a really good topic to mention it nowadays. Music we listen to, images and television. Definitely. Take a little bit of water and see how we can transform. Now the Taz is going to Tasmania. So now I gotta turn him into the character. Alright, so we're gonna Just put these teeth in real quick. And control, man. How do we control the things we get into? The best way, people say, let go and let God. Lupo, welcome to the live, man. Be careful what we feed our minds, our ears. They use that to control us, says Melissa. Yeah, and even like what we eat control us. Like I did a fast two weeks ago, and I realized how much sugar was controlling me. The urge to eat was pretty much the urge to taste sugar, because to me, what tastes good was all about the sugar, and in the past, I've done cleansing of music. I stopped listening to music for a while, stopped listening to watching TV, and all those things put images in your mind. All those things add something to you that you didn't have before. And once you realize that that thing was put there for you to see and for you to, to change your psyche. Like, I know that it's very sensitive what's going on right now with the gentleman that got killed when he was on a the addiction of food, the addiction of all these things that we now have allowed into our lives. But the topic about this gentleman that got killed doing the jog, and I understand it's a very touchy subject, and I don't mean to offend anybody, because I know that it happened and it's real, and it can happen to any of us, right? But I also feel like it happens so much, and every time it happens, whatever we're doing, sometimes we drop it and we focus all of our attention into that. And personally, I stopped feeding myself like sad things. Like, like I know the world is full of crazy stuff and people die every day, and we see it too often, But I also feel like every time something like that happens, it also stops us from whatever we're making, and we have to shift our whole focus into something else. And I don't think it's fair to each one of us, to stop whatever we're doing and focus on a death. And that death, let it be, and when that death happens, like, our whole life stops, because now we become frantic, we become fearful. Now we don't think we could go jogging. Now our mind goes into this panic mode, and now the narrative, we don't have control over it. But we shouldn't let those things stop us. Like, God knows why things happening the way they do, but also the way that the news and things are promoted is also to put fear into us, and fear is a drug, Sometimes fear is a hell of a drug, and at times that is the only way that they can control people, And that's clearly, we can see that fear has been used, propaganda. The propaganda is pushed, fear is pushed through propaganda, and it is on purpose. It is on purpose that these things are shown the way that they're shown. I don't see other things happening to other people the way that they happen to people of color, to Moorish people, brown color people, because I don't think there's people are black. The color black is jet like this, and nobody's that color. Morenos, Moors, that what people are called, and yeah. So yeah, let's not let one narrative drive a whole life and take us into a panic mode. We can grieve. Sometimes we don't even grieve that things happen directly to us the way that we grieve other people that pass, because we understand that these things are tragic and those things could be out of our control. Omar White 02, welcome to the live. Fear, yes, control, to program our minds for control. So if we again, the way that those propaganda about people dying is to control us. And we have people that passed away. Hopefully not you, but I have people that passed away recently in my family that I should be grieving them more than anybody that I don't know. That I know it is a tragic situation, but again, we shouldn't let those situations stop us. And it's sad because we don't acknowledge that people have been dying left and right. And again, it's a critical time we're living in. People are dying, but let's not let one situation put a halt in our life, because every time a death happens that is promoted, because literally it is a promotion for death, and those who share the death are helping the promotion of death, and putting fear into other people. And I went through a very angry period when I saw a lot of death happening, and I chose not to look at it anymore. The moment I stopped looking at it, my life got way better. I became a happier person, and I became more productive. Because, if you can use anger in a positive way, and you can let anger shape your life in another way, and use that negative energy, which anger could be considered negative at times, but if you can turn that negative energy into a positive by making something with anger. I've seen painters paint angrily, and they paint beautiful pictures, so unless we're using that anger towards something positive, don't get angry, don't lose control. Stay in control, stay in tune with your body, stay in tune with your mind, and tap yourself, feel your body. Marvin is back. Let's see what Marvin has to say. Ask to join. And we're speaking about control. Welcome to the live, Marvin. So tap yourself to know that this is your body.
What's poppin'?
Hey, Marv, how you doing, bro?
What's good?
All right, how you been?
I'm alright. How you?
Good. Can you tell us a little?
Drawing?
Yeah, man. Every night we're drawing here. Every night at 10:30.
So draw that. You should post the Kendrick thing you drew. Kendrick and Cole.
Oh, Kendrick and Cole? Man, that was a while ago. You remember that?
Yeah, repost that.
I will. Let me hear your opinion about control. What do you think about how things happen and the way that sometimes things that are out of control that we gotta let go of, but there's some things that we can't control. What's your thoughts about control? Good or bad?
First, or
say it again.
It's great.
It's great to be in control.
It's awesome.
So tell us a little bit more.
Oh, that's Tasmanian Devil right there.
Yeah, man. So I'm turning this Latin artist Sech into the Tasmanian Devil.
Fire. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, man. You still rapping? You still making music?
Sometimes.
Huh?
Sometimes.
All right. Yeah, because I remember you used to do a lot of freestyles.
Oh yeah. Back in the day.
What happened to those, man? I was like, when is he dropping his single? When is he dropping his mixtape?
Oh shit. Yeah.
Damn, bro.
You lucky you got to hear it back then.
You took it off from your social media?
Yeah.
What? Why?
I've been took that off.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know. I just like listening to it.
Oh, okay. So you keep it to yourself now.
Pretty much.
That's what's up. So yeah, so we're talking about control tonight and how sometimes we lose control of our situations and because of things that are outside of us. But we shouldn't let like influences outside of us control our situation, control our mind, control our opinion about things. Letting too many things in that are not part of us, and it's part of a distraction. Like if we agree with everything that's happening to us, and if we just focus too much on whatever is given to us and not really look into us to see what we can decide, then we lose ourselves.
Facts. Your wife taught you that.
For real. Man. Nah, that's facts. You know, because if I always just try to control the situation, man, I would go nuts.
Facts.
Yeah, so I've learned to live letting go of things that I can't choose, you know?
Can't control.
Exactly. Like I didn't choose to be born, I didn't choose to move, I didn't choose to go, you know, but I have to make
You out here
something.
drawing and stuff.
Hmm?
I said you out here drawing and stuff.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I can't control, you know. I can't control what I draw. I can't control what I think sometimes. So
You still got the YouTube?
yeah, man. So right now I'm doing it for YouTube right now. So you
Oh,
be
you on YouTube right now?
yeah, you be on my YouTube video.
Oh, say word. Say word.
Yeah, man. So
Lying.
no, I'm serious. Right? Look, watch, right there. It's live.
You on YouTube right now?
Yeah. So if you want to say a few words or something, whatever you want to say, if you want to freestyle.
I said a lot of words.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, how you been?
I've been alright.
How's that? You still working at that? You say you in LA now, right?
Yeah, Cali.
Cali. Chasing your dream or working out there?
Both.
Nice. Because I remember you were working as a medic.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
So I'm gonna go on your YouTube and see some of your stuff.
All right, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe and like some of those things. Oh yeah, you subscribe, huh?
A long time ago.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, man. Thank you so much for passing by. I'll see you soon.
All right, later.
Later. All right. So let's see what else have we said here. Reyes and Manuel, welcome to the live. Lionel, welcome. It is anger is not always bad. Yeah, you're right. Anger is not always bad, said Melissa. Mr. Snito Polo. All right, let's see. Okay. Or dictate our live as well. Melissa asks, what days are your meditation with my wife? So we do it on Tuesday. Tuesdays are meditations. And right now the time is at 8:30. 8:30 to 9:30, I believe. We do 1 hour. And if you can, send us a DM. My wife started this live meditation on Instagram. It's called Spiritually Connecting. You can follow her at amira.pg. And we're collecting emails for anyone that wants to join our live meditation. We're doing the whole meditation live, but after our second meditation, we realized that it needed to be a little bit more intimate. So we decided to do our meditations through Zoom. So now we lead the meditation through Zoom. And we have a topic every time. We discuss the topic in the beginning, and then we go into the Zoom. The topic is discussed live, and then the meditation goes private. And I need to get back into meditation. Yes. Yeah, meditation it's a great way to release, to get in tune with yourself, to get in touch with your body, and to learn to acknowledge our emotions, to be again in control. You need to tap into your spirit, and what is our spirit trying to tell us? What is that voice in our mind that sometimes could be our ego? And that's when the battle begins, when you try to decipher which one is the ego, which one is the spirit. And that's up to you, and only you can decide which one that is, which one is speaking to you. And I've learned through time that those are the two things that we consider God and the devil, the ego and the spirit. Similar things, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad, the negative and positive, all duality. They both got to live. But again, you're the one that chooses at the end of the day. That would be cool. Awesome, said Melissa. Yes, I'll let some women know for the group. I mean, yeah, definitely. This is open to the public. Anyone can join. And yeah, man, it's just like, we're just trying to add a little bit of our water into a cup, like whatever we can give, any little bit we can give, we're here, any change that we can do, if we can add a positive into somebody's life, we're glad to do that, And again, that's what we can do, One tip here, real quick, to have control over whatever decision you have. Sometimes we feel, and I feel it sometimes, that I just get into the spirit and I get high and I start talking and then going. And sometimes the biggest thing we forget to do is to take a breath, to go like this. And literally, by just doing that, you've gained control of yourself again. And if you want, you could do that right now. Just take a deep breath, and you would see how different that feels. You take a deep breath right now, and you will see that there was something that you let go of, something that wasn't you, that you had adapted to you. And by just taking a deep breath, something as simple as that, you are now back in control of your body. Okay, let's see. Yes, okay, as long as we know how to be more aware of ourselves. I have a lot of women that are spiritual journey, so that would be great. Yeah, man. This is again my wife's initiative, and I'm just joining along for the ride. But yeah, I'd recommend you follow my wife too. Yes, it reminds us to stay in the moment. Yeah, follow Amira if you like Melissa. Amira.pg. You can find her in some of my posts or stories. Because she gives a lot of spiritual things. Like I do talk about spiritual things a lot, but I don't share a lot of spiritual things on my Instagram because I want to keep it more about drawing. And I'll be the happiest when I merge the two forever, because I do go into spiritual journeys into my Instagram sometimes, even though I'm always walking in the spirit. But I just choose not to always share it. And some of my drawings are super spiritual. And like I was speaking to a friend of mine, he says that the moment you just live there and your art reflects that, you will be the happiest. And I agree. And I dabble into it, but I go back into my fun stuff. And by fun, I mean my memories. I go back into what I'm enjoying at the moment. And to me, this is spiritual too. Like everything we do is spiritual. Because being joyful, being happy, expressing your love for something, expressing your memories, your joyful memories, your childlike self, this is to me that spirit. That spirit talks. And when we talk about control, a lot of the things that happened to us when we were kids may follow us to our moment, to our life. And if we don't reflect on those moments, we can't be free. We can't live happy again. So I love to dabble back into my memories and revisit my childhood, relive those moments that to me, my childhood was the happiest moments I've ever lived. And I choose to always bring it back, because it just helps my journey. It pushes my art in other ways that I don't know where to drag from. Sometimes I don't know where to I sometimes don't know where to get inspiration from, and I always go back to my childhood, and that brings out the best of me. Sometimes some things are better kept to yourself. Yes. Yeah, my father always says that you are a slave for what you share, but you're a master of what you keep. So whatever you don't share, only you can know what it is. You know, and no one can ever use what you don't share against you. All right, let's see now. So we are at the point, there will also be screening for the group I'm in on Facebook. I also have a Q&A, and I did a speech about my journey. Awesome. Send me a link through my DM too, so that we can take a look at that also. And yeah, I really appreciate anyone that's come by, everyone that's passed through. Really enjoyed the conversation. Go be shameless. Go be shameless. Thank you for joining. Man, Kat, thank you for joining. We were just talking about shamelessness last Thursday, actually. So that's funny. Go be shameless. That's this. There we go. How to control something by being shameless. That's so dope. And yeah, you know, like the moment we focus on the things that are out of our control, we become a little sad. If you just let it be, you become a little happier. Now here we go, turning this cartoon into a person. How can I control that? That is the question. Alex 2214, welcome to the live. We're turning Setch into the Tasmanian Devil. It's part of my series Latin Tunes. Latin Tunes is part of the series. Let me put this title here so that anytime it pops up, we can see it. All right, so there we go. Latin Tunes, where we turn Latin artists into Looney Tunes. So far, I've turned 3. This will be my 4th one. Well, 3. And I started a 4th one, and now I'm starting a 5th one. So it's part of a series of 6 fan arts that I want to make. And now let's see, I'm undecisive now whether I should make him more human or more cartoon. Later, man. It was nice talking to you. Can't wait to be part of the meditation group with your wife. Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing so much of your information and staying tuned for the whole hour. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. And we have 5 more minutes of the live. So again, I appreciate all those who have joined. Don't forget to look into my YouTube channel where this live will live forever. If you ever want to go back to the beginning and listen to what we spoke about in the beginning, which we shared a lot about control, about anger. We spoke about forgiveness, which is a big part of when we forgive, we kind of grant that control, and therefore when we give something, it gets returned to us. Sometimes we think that the more we give, the more we get sometimes is the better. But I don't know if you've seen, there's rich people giving to foundations, and sometimes they're super unhappy. What was I saying there? Sometimes we have to get, yeah, there we go. So the more we give, the happier sometimes we are, because even if you have a lot, it doesn't fulfill you. So you have to find ways to give back, whether it is through your talent, monetize. Yes, like monetary wise, money is important, and to give money back to people, it is important. But I feel like if you can give back a smile, you can give back a joyful memory, you can give back something of value that you have, um, like your time, to giving your time, something that now we say that we don't have the time to give to nobody at times, but find it in your heart, to give some of your time to people, and you'll be surprised how much that person was needing your attention, your time, because you can have all the money in the world but still be unhappy. You can have all the things in the world, still be unhappy. If you don't make these human connections, which we've been losing little by little, we could be really unhappy. So share of yourself, share of your skills, share your talents, share your voice, share a little more, and sometimes give your best jewels away. Once you let go of that thing that you thought that made you, once you let go of that, you kind of make a sacrifice, and it's a way for you to say, I am not what I own. I am not the things I hold valuable. I am not the things that I buy. And when you get rid of all those things, you become the freest, and now you can give more of yourself. And I learned that once I let go of I always say that if I could, I would be a monk. If I didn't get married, I'll be living in the Himalayas, or just being a monk within myself, which I live still like that. And we have 2 minutes left. So again, I appreciate anyone who sticked around, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing some figure drawing. On Thursdays, I like to do somewhat of a teaching moment to the drawings, but tonight I just wanted to introduce this next character, and it was fun to share it and build it in front of you guys. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be doing some figure drawing, and this was fun. I always am a little nervous when I begin, but as time goes into it, I feel it. I feel it, and I let myself go. So the moment I understood that that the one way I could be myself is by letting go is when I moved away from New York. I thought New York defined me. At one point, I thought my country defined me, Dominican Republic. But I always find out the new things is the more you let go, the more you become you. So thank you for joining. Instagram is out. Now I have you guys on YouTube to speak to. I've been speaking to you guys, but I always feel like once the Instagram closes out, now I can speak directly to people on YouTube, which is speaking out in the air, speaking out to the open. So appreciate you guys from tuning in, and yeah, like letting go of things that don't serve you, letting go of the things that you thought define you, make you, the less you own, the less possessions you have, the more you can see who you truly are. And that's something that it gets harder and harder the more we have. Like the more advanced we become, the more technology we hold, the less we look into those pockets of being just us, of not being identified with what clothes we wear, what brand we have. All those things are, a little hard sometimes to get over and let go. But when you do, you'll see that the better it is. All right, and I realized that the latency today was pretty good on the screen. So I'm figuring it out. All right, so We have a Tasmanian devil here, not so much sedge. In the coming, I will be making shorter videos. Like I've said, I already have 3 set up that I'll be releasing soon. But I'll be figuring out how to make him more into sedge by adding his locks, adding his beard. His hoodie was probably misplaced the way I had it. So we'll see how we turn Taz into sedge. And I also share on the, when I release the shorter version of the video, I'll share the Tasmanian that I did when I was the first, and you guys can find it there on my drawing and talking series. You guys can find the Tasmanian devil I did, which is pretty fun. I did it on my iPad. I had a lot of been struggling to release something to YouTube at that time, and I've released a lot ever since that. So Tasmanian devil, I thank you for for launching my YouTube career. Man, that's funny to say. But here we go. We have something. And again, this may not be it when you guys will see it the next time. But thank you again for joining Drawing and Talking with Artclstudios. I feel like I have to give you the message of control. Just let go of control, you know. Let control go and just be. You know, when you're being and you don't plan every move you make sometimes, and again, balancing it both is the answer, solution of having improvised part and also have control. But when and I recommend you guys look into the Tao. The Tao talks about the path with less force. So the less you force something to happen, the more rewarding it would be. Because everything that happens to you may be like a surprise. And I always feel this, that when I let go of the things that I thought I had control over, and then it happens, I always act surprised. I always get shocked. And people are like, why are you shocked? Like, you know you can do these things. But there's something about how special it feels when you don't expect it, you know. And the less expectations you have of things, the happier you'll become. Because sometimes we suffer our expectations. We suffer our future, we suffer our past, because we don't live in the present. So thank you again for joining. This has been Artclstudios, Drawing and Talking for tonight. We are out. Thank you for joining. And that's what I used to do before, and I forgot. So get used to that. You'll hear that often. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on social media. And if you like the video, click the like button. If you want to see more videos, click the video in the middle. And don't forget, never stop learning for you.